facet, another phase of neoliberalism. Neoliberalism, Thatcher, Reagan, Blair, Clinton, but it is in a way. That's partly right, but it's not, it's the neo part. The new part has to do with the total unleashing of market actors who then have, in the United States especially, more than in Canada, who have campaigned against the minimum wage. They've campaigned against unions. They have succeeded in desertifying many unions in the U.S. so that now only 12% of the workforce are unionized in my country. And most of those people are in public sector jobs where they do not have the right to strike. What is a union without the right to strike? Public spending has been rolled back under the impact of this organized business-led assault on the accomplishments, really, of the New Deal and the 1960s. And now they have the Social Security system in their sights. That's sort of, that's partly new. It's because the concentration of business on changing national politics as a way of making more money is new. They've all moved to Washington. They're all on K Street. K Street didn't exist as an institution 30 or 40 years ago. But there's another dimension to what's happening. And that is not new. That's an old, almost a classical kind of pattern in relief programs or welfare programs in the West, in Europe and in the United States. And that has two parts to it. Most of you probably know about this. You know about the idea of less eligibility, the idea that nobody on welfare should live as well as the lowest paid worker. Now, what is that about? That was an idea expressed by the English Poor Law Commissioners in 1834. What does that mean? That means that you should not have a welfare system that will make it possible for anyone to choose to survive on welfare instead of working. Now, I maintain that that principle is alive and well. It doesn't belong in 1834 in England. It belongs certainly in the United States. In fact, studies show that you can correlate the wages of retail workers and agricultural workers with welfare benefits on a state-by-state basis. If retail workers get less, welfare benefits are lower. Much lower. Moreover, as the wages and working conditions of working people have deteriorated, as they have over the last 30 years, not dramatically, but a steady shrinking of the median wage. As working conditions and wages deteriorate, so the welfare benefits have to be pressed in. Why is that principle so enduring? I don't know. Certainly businessmen like it because it keeps wages low. But there's another dimension to welfare, which is also old, not new, and that is the systematic degradation of people. Now, to be poor in Canada or to be poor in the United States is itself degradation. It means that you live in a rich society with sumptuous levels of consumption, constantly exposed to advertising and television shows that display lavish consumer goods. That's stuff that they ask for just because they see it on TV. And that's a kind of marginalization and degradation of the poor. But then we also systematically degrade people. Through the programs that give them aid, and also through the discourse, through the talk that surrounds the program. Even the talk of academics, by the way. How do we do that? Well, we do that through the long lines. We do that through the investigations. We do that in the United States by fingerprinting people who apply for welfare. We do that, the academics do that. Oh, it's been outrageous, I think. For at least 25 years, academics have shifted from investigating the structural economic causes of poverty to investigating the pathologies of the poor that presumably cause poverty. Even when they report that there's no connection between the pathology and the income, no connection between the out-of-wedlock birth and the poverty, even when their findings deny their propositions, they still engrave the idea that pathology is connected to poverty. That's what remains after their confusing studies are reported. Well, this kind of degradation also has its impact on the poor themselves. When people are ashamed, they are unlikely to protest their condition. Yet history argues, our history, your history, my history, our forebears in Europe, history argues that these programs and policies improve only when the poor themselves make trouble, when they become defiant, when they become hard to manage, when they become disorderly, when they threaten to interfere with the normal functioning of the society. That's when they get attention, and that's when they get some concessions. If the poor are quiet in their misery, if they crawl away ashamed, they won't get anything. That's not only true of the welfare poor, it's also true of the working poor. There are numerous accounts of how in the Great Depression, for the first couple of years, the people who found themselves out of work because the factory had closed down, some other business had closed down, were given to behaviors like pretending to go to work, walking down the street in the morning, swinging their lunchbox, so the neighbors wouldn't know that they were out of work. When people have that kind of fear and that kind of shame, they're not ready to join together to demand an improvement in their condition. They're likely to hide. But it may be that the political context is changing in a way that will make defiance, outspokenness, anger, indignation easier to express, first to feel and then to express for the poor. You know, across Europe,